Hello everyone, it's a casual smiley gamer here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through some news announced by the Magic Wizards. Today on 13th of October 2021 they have banned and restricted some of the cards in Magic the Gathering. Specifically, I would like to speak about the Alrund's Epiphany. Alrund's Epiphany was kind of a popular and very controversial topic in the last few days, where people were arguing that this card is used in pretty much every single deck. Like 3 out of 4 decks in the World Tournament would be running at least 3 Alrund Epiphanies, maybe 4. And everyone's arguing that the only way to get rid of this card is to simply play the blue color, because this is the only way you can deal with it. You cannot make people discard it because it can be foretold. You cannot destroy it, you cannot disrupt it in any way. You can only counter it, and people are arguing that the only way to deal with this card is to run the blue mana deck, which no one wants to do because people technically don't really love tempo decks. They would love to play aggro, and mono blue is not really a thing in the current standard format. So what Wizards have announced is that they have checked the certain individual cards and check their impact on the metagame diversity, such as Alrund's Epiphany and Asika's Chariot, and after reviewing the metagame data and recent online events, including the World Championship, and in considering the upcoming release of Innistrad, they have decided not to make any changes at this time, which is very understandable because no one would really want to make any significant bans just a month before announcing a new pack. Now let's speak if Alrund's Epiphany actually this so broken, and if it should actually be removed from the game. And from my point of view, no. So first of all, we have to remember that in every standard format there are some popular cards. Say in a previous standard we had Embercleave, we had Venota, and pretty much 70% of people were running these decks. And now you can argue that, okay, so these cards can easily be removed by just using, simple shock and destroying the creature that runs the Embercleave, or just, find a way to exile or destroy Venota, and then your problem is solved. Realistically, yes, and but it doesn't mean that there are no way to deal with the Alrund's Epiphany. Now, there are a few ways how you can actually deal with this card. One of the good ways to deal with the Alrund's Epiphany was actually tried in the World Championship, and that was Valkmira Protector Shield. Now basically the way people normally run Alrunds is they are calling as many birds as possible, they copy Alrund's Epiphany a few times, and then they attack you with the birds and beat you to death. Don't forget that Valkmira, what it does is it says if a source an opponent controls would deal a damage to you, or a permanent you control, you can prevent one of that damage. Now, if a bird is actually 1/1, then any damage dealt by any bird would be fully negated, which would make the bird completely useless against you. So again, you can try that. If you're running the blue deck, you can play Test of Talents. Now, what Test of Talents does is it allows you to take all of the Alrund's Epiphanies of the opponent's deck. So it says counter target instant or sorcery spell, search its controller's graveyard, hand, library, and any number, and take any number of cards with the same name and take them out of the game. So you can, with one Test of Talents that costs 2 mana, deal with the Alrund's Epiphany once and for all, and the whole strategy of the opponent would be disrupted, and that's it, and they basically lost the game. Now, you can go very heavy aggro on them by, say, playing mono white or mono red goblins or even mono green. And all of these options would be very, very viable, because don't forget that Alrund's Epiphany actually costs you 7 mana. Even if you foretell it, it costs you 6 mana. And the only time the opponent can use it will actually be by turn 6. And that's given that he has few Alrund's Epiphanies or few spells that can copy Alrund's Epiphanies. Otherwise, the strategy is very dull, and they will not be able to deal you enough damage to kill you off. And normally, opponents cannot pull it off effectively and efficiently. A lot of people who are actually complaining about Alrund's Epiphany have all tried to play with the Alrund's Epiphany, but were unlucky because The deck requires a lot of strategic thinking, a lot of luck, and also a very good timing in using the card against the other opponents. Otherwise, the strategy is not really viable. So I would not call this card broken. It is strong in the hands of a strong player if you're lucky and if your opponent is unlucky, but it's definitely not unbeatable. Again, do not forget that in every standard format there were many cards that were popular, but they were popular. It did not mean that they were unbeatable. Say, as I've mentioned, Embercleave and Venata could be dealt with. It's just because 70% of people played it, it was that popular, it felt broken, and everyone thought, okay, so these are the most broken cards, that's why everyone's playing them. If, I don't know, say, vampires would be playing in the World Championship, and every single deck would be about the vampires, people would be bragging that vampires have to be banned. Same applies to Alrund's Epiphany now. It's not broken, it can be dealt with, definitely can be dealt with. It's just very popular and it will require a bit of practice to play against it. But my advice would be to always go heavy aggro unless you're playing a blue deck, which would make it very easy for you to deal with the Alrund's Epiphany. Or if you're running, say, aggro white, play the Valkmira, very good option to deal with the card. Okay, I wish you all good luck, have a good day, have a good night, depending on where you are, and see you next time.